How long could Jordi Torres remain at the top? Could he notch up an incredible 7th World Championship? The Spaniard had been in the elite trials top bracket for more than a decade, but in 1995 he faced real competition from a variety of quarters. Mark Colomé on the Works Montesa looked a good bet should Torres falter, and Finland's Tommi Avala was keen to regain the crown he'd taken from Torres once before. Then there were the youngsters, Dougie Lampkin from Yorkshire, Steve Colley from the Isle of Man, and on the scoreboard, Graham Jarvis. Could they get in? 10 rounds of the championship, beginning with Luxembourg. So Luxembourg, Steve Colley, was the first round, and it was a reasonable performance by you. How did you see the trial as we set up here for the start of the 95 campaign?
Well, where the trial is in Luxembourg, Jeff, there's very little natural sections. Every section was handmade. A bit like riding indoor, outdoor. The trial was very, very good. Dry on both days. Obviously, 2-day format again this year. Very, very good competition.
So you were in good shape then at that time of the year, ready to go, recovered from the winter's indoor activities?
Yeah, I had a bit of an injury after Barcelona indoor in February. But, no problems by the time the first indoor came at the end of April.
But a bit strange to be getting back into the full World Championship sequence.
Yeah, you know, riding all the indoor shrouds, the winter, nice and warm. And it was like back on with the jackets and outdoor again to do the business.
And the machine specifications similar to 94?
Obviously, a change of bike for me from 94. I was on Beta 94, changed 95 to gas. So new team, new bike, and everything. So I'm really looking forward to the start of the season.
But you had the gas going in the winter arenas.
Yeah, very, very successful indoor World Championship, for the 6th World Championship. So really looking forward to the outdoor World Championship, as I say. But totally different riding outdoor nowadays. The indoor stuff.
And the change from Beta to gas, was it difficult?
Not really, no. Everything was going in the right direction, so, you know, get the bike, get the team, get the setup. So when it's like that, it was very, very easy going that way than obviously the other way.
Here we go then on the campaign, and it's Torres we see here, number 1, going for that 7th title. And the sections, if anything, Steve, get steeper.
Yeah, as you'll see on this sections, they become more difficult, more severe, bigger, longer, higher.
Well, let's sit back then and enjoy the action from the first round. So Martin still giving the payout to Dougie there, then Steve, and it's a valuable part of the way he rides, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, the way the sections are in World Championships, riding plays an important part, to the rider's performance, is the rider riding the bike. we spend most of the time reversing nowadays as well as going forward. So as you say, very important to have a good line there.
And Rob Crawford on the Yamaha's getting better and better. It still sounds as if it's gasping for breath a bit, but Rob making an occasional and welcome appearance.
Yeah, he's been out 2 or 3 times in the World Championship this year. Very, very difficult to do it that way. If you're not doing a full season of World Championships, you do tend to lose touch of it. But Rob, he still rides well for top.
But it was Colomé, wasn't it, who was the biggest threat to Therese, really, and he got off to a fair start, as we can see here.
Definitely. Obviously Mark on the new Montesa this year. Young still, plenty of motivation. A lot of people thought he'd beat Geordie this year. Geordie been at the top for so long. The guy's amazing. Everyone thought that Geordie was coming to the end of his career. But, one of the later sections, I think section 13 or 14 here. Fairly natural for Luxembourg actually. It was about one of the only sections that was, I think, as I said earlier, handmade, just with big rocks and boulders. But, very, very good trial. Just a lack of spectators, as you can see.
E per me è importante iniziare bene. Ieri avevo un po' paura perché ho sbagliato solo una zona facile che ho preso 5 e Mark era tanti punti davanti, no? Ma comunque anche oggi ho visto che hanno fatto zone un po' più difficili. Ho visto che avevo possibilità di vincere ancora, è andato molto vicino con Mark e Jordi, ma non ho fatto nessun errore domenica e è riuscito. Ho girato molto bene, sono molto contento e meritato con un vittoria. Allora,
so a good psychological boost for Avala then to get off to victory in the first round.
Definitely, yeah. Again, for him, new bike, the Fantic section. No one really knew how the bike went, and as you can see, won the first World Championships, so obviously done him and Fantic a lot of good.
And a great waste of champagne there. That concluded the first round, and it was on then to Britain, and you must have had high hopes for the trial at Hawkstone Park.
Definitely, new place again. First year we've ever had it at the motocross track here at Hawkstone Park. Very, very good place. Turned out a really, really good event. Lots and lots of spectators. Very, very good atmosphere in the wooded area. Sit back and watch it.
But in fact, it proved to be a nightmare for Doug Lampkin.
That's right. All the sections on the day required a large amount of power, from the bikes. Everything was 3rd and 4th gear, absolutely flat out. Doug's bike appeared to be a little underpowered on the day. And he struggled and dropped to 14.
Having won, of course, the previous year at Hoghton Tower near Blackburn.
Yeah, big disappointment of a lot of spectators.
Final rider in group.
Well, the foreigners really were still there, weren't they? Because even though you had a good placing in it, there was no shifting.
No, I was very happy when the riding all day, but on the 6th, it's so hard now to make the top 5 every year. It's just becoming so much more difficult.
Bags of British support there, though, and that's Avala, the first round winner, with a dab with his left foot. I don't think the camera with the best respect to those who operate them and the filmmakers quite convey the angles you have there.
Well, this is section 3 here at the end of it.
Quite dangerous too. Let's see how he gets on there then, selecting the gears there. 4th gear over here. Mark's scratching a bit here, Steve.
Yeah, we've moved on a bit here to section 10. As you can see, from the crowds below, very, very steep. Hawkstone Park, just every section was pretty similar. And it was just basically work your way up the side. A lot of sections were too steep to go directly up. So in a situation like this, it's just stop and position yourself and basically, go back and forth till you arrive at the top.
But there is a time limit now, isn't there, on each section?
Yeah, just 3 minutes now. It's made it a lot better, really. A few years ago, we had to balance the section for ages, wondering what we're going to do next. But now, obviously, we've got to keep on pushing on.
Well, that'll suit you, because you like to get cracking, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Most of the time out of control, so it's just doing the flash.
this was the world champion en route to a winning ride at Hawkstone. Showing the trackability of the gas there, Steve.
Italian team, Soviet gas. Donato's bike this year had a lot of the bigger airboats. So obviously got myself here, flat out before, got a bit of air time, just out through the end scores before I dab.
Some plan that.
Finalmente he conseguido una victoria este año y nada menos que en Inglaterra en una prueba del Mundial, con lo cual pues me siento muy satisfecho, ¿no? Porque esto me va a dar moral. Yo no creo que da importancia el hecho de que continúe estando delante del campeonato un año más. Y bueno, espero poder luchar por ganarlo, sino bueno, creo que aquí en Inglaterra pues el trial ha estado a un nivel muy alto y ha permitido de hacer genialidades y algunos errores que creo que es lo importante, ¿no?
And the large crowd to acclaim the winners in Britain. The enthusiastic audience there, keen as always to get near the stars. On then to Ireland, and usually wet but not too bad to start with anyway.
It wasn't so bad on the first day, it was quite nice weather. It actually started snowing on the second day, so obviously a bit of a washout on the second day there, but nice scenic setting as you can see in the Highlands of Ireland.
And reasonably natural sections, as we'll see.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds, as you can see, a lot of trick riding involved. The Irish World Championship, most of the sections are very slow, wide open style sections, very little trick riding involved.
And Rob Crawford going quite well on home territory.
Yeah, he's winding the yam up there, as you can see.
But Doug Lampkin was very definitely back on this day.
Unfortunately for me, yeah, he had a bit of a downer in England there with his 14th place, and you know he shows a great deal of to have an absolute storming ride in Ireland, to bring himself back up into contention, you know, in the World Championship.
Might have won it, in fact, except for a puncture towards the end. He was beaten by Colomay.
That's right, very, very close until the remaining last couple of sections. We were all very late on time here. Really, really long course. It was about 13 miles around the mountains, and everybody ran out of time. So that really
and a bit of a lack of grip on the last lap as the rocks got the water carted onto them.
Yeah, it was incredible. Some of the crashes were horrendous on the last lap. On the first day and on the first lap of the second day, lots and lots of grip, and then the heavens opened and it turned every section. It was just, you know, the survival of the fittest on the last lap.
Here's Dougie showing us just how he got into the top 3 and so near the absolute top spot. It was Colomay who did it to make it the 3rd different winner in the first 3 rounds. Zavala, Chares and Colomay. Colomay taking the lead in the World Championship by 4 points after this. And you rescued a point for 10th, Steve.
A disaster of a day, really. As I say, I was going quite well on the first day. And then when the heavens opened on the second day, I fired virtually everything on the last lap. And a few big crashes, destroyed my bike totally, and dropped down a little bit.
So you're not a wet weather fan anymore then?
After Ireland, no.
This rider looks to be one of the up-and-comers for the future, Steve.
Latest star from Japan, Kenichi Koyama. Absolute tiny guy, I think only weighs about 6 stone. So his bike has it's probably got the most power in the World Championship. When he revs it at bottommost step, it really, really does take off. And his balance as well. He's just like a little schoolboy ride, and his balance is amazing. And as you say, Jeff, possibly a big star of the future.
Is he taking over the Japanese mantle from Narita then?
For sure, yeah. Takumi's dropped from Takumi Narita, that is, dropped from 5th to 12th in the World Championship this year. Koyama's going straight in his first year in think, 13th to 14th position.
Okay? Vale, Joan, una mica enrere, si vols, 3 dits, 2 dits.
So Colomay it was, but very tight with Doug Lampkin. That puncture looked as if it cost him just the 1 mark separating them, with Terres a further 9 back, and Kuriyama having a great ride to 6th there, Steve.
Incredible, really. He missed out on the first 2 rounds, points-wise, and then he's straight in there, his first points in 6th position, which is really, really big time.
And Johan Pons going well too to 5th position there, just a couple behind Avala, as the action then moved on to Belgium. And of course the famous Bilstein venue, but perhaps a shadow of its former self in some respects, but Colomay, a word of victory. Lampkin on the left-hand side, and of course Terres on the right, 2nd and 3rd. Everybody still remembers the big step at Bilstein in Belgium, Steve, but it's a long time since that's posed a big hazard, I think.
Yeah, Belgium, as you say, is a shadow of its former self. It's a motor park, and it's the every day during the week for trials, bikes, motocrosses, everything. And the place is just, to be honest, it is just totally worn out. Nowadays, contested riders.
So what shape were you in at this point in the season? About a quarter of the event gone, and we were looking for a top 3, really.
Definitely, I was a bit disappointed with the result. We went straight here after the Scottish shift there, so it was no to ride again after Scotland, really. You spend all week in Scotland riding the straight line, and then come to the World Championship and reverse and bounce sideways again.
So here we go then for the Belgian rockery, and Doug again maintaining the form he'd showed in Ireland.
Incredible, yeah. He went up to Scotland, he was obviously on a high after winning the Scottish, and came to Belgium here, still on a high, and was riding very, very good at this particular stage in the year.
Hard to change from the Scottish 6 days with hundreds of miles on the road to this, though, wasn't it?
It's just very difficult to slow your riding down. As I say, you spend a full week just riding a straight line in Scottish, then you come here, and it's a different sport really nowadays. World Championship to the British Championship or the Scottish 6 days.
Where you're in the Wye Valley in that one with those sections.
Very similar, doesn't it? It could be anywhere in England or in the Isle of Man. But, we're on to section 12 here, in Belgium. Very, very slippy. You know, the water drags up onto the rocks there, and it's a limestone type rock, and each lap the sections become more and more slippy.
So Bilbao demonstrating that the beta still is a force to be reckoned with. Were you missing the beta at that stage, or getting more used to the gas and saying I did the right thing?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've never questioned the chain. It's one of the best moves I've ever done. We're still spending a lot of time changing bits and pieces on the bike. It's only like the 3rd World Championship, so we're still testing it.
Well, this really is a stinker, this section.
Really, really big. It doesn't look that big again on camera. Flat out the course again. Very difficult to set up from the bottom. The water was dragging out the stream onto the mud there, and it became slippy in the bottom. And it was also hard to keep the back wheel on the floor in 4th gear to get the bike going.
Graham Jarvis getting better and better though on the World Trail. In contrast to some slinging it away.
Yeah, what a crash, eh? They had to put that on, didn't they? Yeah, Graham was practicing very, very hard. We train a lot together.
Oh, so near a clean.
Very nearly. I think there was only 3 or 4 cleans throughout the whole trial in that particular section.
Jordi, calma, Posa-te-la bé, posa-te-la bé, estela't endavant. Vale. Ara ens queda mig minut, mirem-t'ho bé,
Carries then on another winning run, and he got good value for that dab.
Certainly did. Like, how many seconds was he stationary with that one?
Well, the diehards won't like it, but that's modern trials, and it was a winning run for him. But with Colomé second, he retained the World Championship lead by 1 point, and Doug Lampkin, winning the tiebreaker right at the end, grabbed 3rd.
Belgium finished for another year. Very, very slippy trial again this year. Second day it rained, the sections became slippy yet again. But a very good result for Jordi. Obviously, you know, just Pip and Mark there, and obviously for Doug in the top 3 again.
And 11th for yourself.
Nightmare, hey?
Well, not too bad, but you were looking for something better, I think. And then it was on to Poland, and always a difficult country, even these days, in enlightened circumstances to visit for a variety of reasons. With Colomé just 1 point in the lead for the championship, and looking as if he might take it from Therese at that point of the season.
Yeah, but quite early on still, with only 3 rounds to go. Jordi's very, very strong mentally. He always seems to come on very strong in the latter stages of the year. So all to play for at this stage.
C'est le premier de ce jour, Jordi Thérèse.
So on to Poland then, Steve, and it's a round that's greeted enthusiastically by the locals, but there's still not too much spare money around for the natives to enjoy their sport, so they're getting a welcome opportunity to see the World Championship circus at close quarters.
Definitely, yeah, most of the riders.
W tamtym roku Lampkin, widzę, jeździł na Gazgazie, motocyklowi marki Fant i w tamtym roku i w tym roku jeździ na motocyklu Fant. Numer 6, Lampkin, Wielka Brytania,
Of course, they had the international 6-day enduro to look forward to as well, so I suppose some of the organisers were common to both.
Yeah, definitely.
Startuje Olomerna Kuspa.
I thought when Avala won the title he might be the natural successor to Therese, but then it was Colomé who came along, and again we see just how hard it all is by a rider such as yourself not getting up a bank like that. It does look easier than it actually is on any trials film, doesn't it?
Yeah, the camera always seems to kill everything. You know, it looked like I fell off on the flat there. But, that particular section, they changed it for the second day because we're on the first day here with the nice sunshine still. Everybody fired that particular section.
I'm just saying though about Avala, I thought he might stay at the top, but Therese wasn't having any of it, and so far he can't get it back and Colomé can't get in.
Yeah, after Tommy won in 92, I think it was, he lost a lot of motivation in 93 and struggled a little bit. He became world champion, there wasn't really anything else, you know, for him to do apart from become world champion again, and he did struggle the year after. But he's back on it now. It's so difficult to tackle Jordan. He's got much more experience than anybody else. He's got a superb team around him, and they all just work so much for Jordan. It's very, very hard for anybody else to get on.
But Avala does look remotivated now.
Definitely, yeah. You know, his frantic team and everything gave him a fairly good bite this year. So it's just down to to himself now to do the business.
Well, there's certainly some hairy sections in this one, but the top men are making light of them. And in Poland it was to be Colomé's day to extend his world championship lead from 1 point to 6.
A very, very close day again. The second day was a bit of a lock really for those whoever could get through any section at all, because it just rained so hard it just washed all the sections out. So whoever had an advantage at the end of the first day, was really in for a shout.
And the tension of the finish clearly shown here by the riders, just totting up the scores, and I'm not sure that anybody knows quite who's won. That's how close it was. But it was Colomé by 3 after a long, hard, muddy weekend. 103 in a World Championship trial is a high score. Second for Doug Lampkin though, a good result, just 3 behind and 5 ahead of the world champion Therese. You've got to say, Steve, a good ride by Doug there, and one which was hard to achieve really when conditions were at their worst.
That's right, all Doug had to basically do was just get through the last section to tie with Mark, and he'd have won on a tiebreaker, but he fired the last section and handed victory to Mark there.
Drugie miejsce w nowym targu. Ocenili, proszę Państwa, dobrze. No, widać korki, zakłada, proszę Państwa, ja jestem w świetnej odległości. Teraz czas dla telewizji.
So with 12th place there, you were getting a bit demoralised, I should think.
A little bit, yeah. I rode Poland with no minder, no mechanic or anything. I drove out there alone because my own mechanic had a heart attack on the way there, so that was a bit of a upsetting time. But we bounced back in the later stages of the year.
So it was on to the second half of the year then, and to Italy. They're keen on their trials in Italy as they are on their Formula One and their motorcycle world championships, in fact all motorsport really.
Absolutely anything at all. They seem to get excited over the slightest thing you do on a motorbike.
You could do with riding an Italian machine there, though, really, if you can get any relationship with the country. It seems to do extra for the spectators to support you.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of tinkering as well prior to the start. And starting round 6, Colomé 6 points clear.
Ecco quindi Steve Colley, Gas, pilota inglese, e la volta dei 48 punti.
It seems a long time since Donato Emilio was campaigning in SWM, Steve.
Yeah, he's been around on the circuit a long time now, Donato has. I think he's about 28, 29, which in the trialing game is very, very old. I don't know how many more years he's got left, but he signed for Gas again next year, so he'll be around another year.
Come avala Colomé lasciare. Ok, ringraziamo Mario Candellone, intanto gustiamoci ancora Bruno Camozzi, possente conduttore francese in quella di una Beta Tecno.
Good clean there for Camozzi, rattling the suspension down. And he's Graham Jarvis on the Scorpa, just struggling for a 3 here around the back of this tree. Just making his way in the world of the top bracket of trials. But that is the type of thing that can happen at a moment's notice.
Bit of a wipeout there for Paul Graham. Some of the stuff in Italy this year was very, very dangerous, as you can see. Just one small mistake and you end up in a big heap on the floor.
Does that not frighten you, though, that the bike can land on you?
It does, yeah, for sure, but you don't really think about it.
I think he just got the front court in under there, didn't he?
It soon went away there, didn't it? End up in a big heap.
Perfect, Brad. Perfect. Good man. There, don't go back. Sit there. Yes, you're perfect over there. Give me myself.
You look more like your old self on this one, Steve.
Yeah, the guy who's mining with us there was a top factory guy from Gas, Andrew Cordina, a former rider himself. He really helped us on the day. Brilliant minder. And I rode very, very well here on the first 2 laps. Made a couple of mistakes in the last lap and dropped down a bit, but really, really enjoyed myself and back on the pace again.
And for the second time, beating Doug, but Doug has got some top 3 places in, which you were still seeking at that point.
That's right, I could have done with a few stormers at this stage. I was just very, very steady throughout the year, really. Didn't have any really spectacular all-star rides, which I needed, really.
And this is where the World Championship really hotted up, because Colomé had been leading more or less all the way to here. But although Tara's won in Italy, it wasn't by much, but it was enough to draw him neck and neck with Colomé, and this is, I think, where the change came, wasn't it?
As I say, Geordie's always very, very strong in the latter stages of the year. Geordie really, really showed them who was boss here. And the remaining year just got stronger and stronger.
But Colomé was to be back in the lead in the next round, but knowing all the while that the Tara's threat was creeping up.
Dove sei andato a vedere? L'ultima qui? Sei andato la 2? La 2, 3, 4, la 2. Io ho detto che la 1 sono andato.
It's so physical these days, isn't it?
As you can see, a lot of the sections this year have been very, very arena type style sections. It's like bounce, and all this is just physical. You know, it's just pull with the arms and legs, pull, push, pull, push.
Vale. Bueno, así van a ver, ¿eh? Es lotísimo,
Terry's it is that goes to the top of the pile, and neck then with Colomé for the World Championship after 6 of the 10 rounds. Collie 9th, Doug Lampkin in 10th position. Terry's was really superb in that round, wasn't he? 16 to 28 with Emilio, Camozzi, Colomé, Ponzavala. Certainly a bit of a surprise shake-up there, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, as you can see by the scores, Jordi had an absolute storm of a day. Surprise, we're in Italy, Donato Ortiz in second place.
And Justribo coming in for the second time in the area of the top 6.
That's right, yeah, Marcel there on the beater. Very, very good young rider, but still a little inconsistent.
As we prepare to travel on to Spain, and this must be the round of the year for the GasGas team, wasn't it?
For sure, yeah, but there are a lot of problems in Spain this year. Very, very unorganised competition. The riders actually tried to boycott the first day because none of the sections were laid out properly. There was no observers there or anything, so a bit of a disappointment for the for the Spanish World Championship, and for sure all the riders were quite all the Spanish riders especially were quite embarrassed, for the home World Championship being such a mess.
After the previous year's success on the seaside, wasn't it? On one of the costas, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were on the Costa Brava, a place called Tosta Mar. This year they moved it to a place called Bilbao, very, very industrial place, and just not a patch on the previous year's World Championship.
Colomé knew that if he was going to get back into the lead, he had to turn it on in Spain, but Terry's equally knew that he had him in his sights, so the pressure was most definitely on. And I think that's Dave Willoughby chatting you up there, is it?
Yeah, the main guy from the ACU and FIM. Just give me a bit of a pep talk before we start there.
Did it work?
No.
What about spectators in Spain? Are they as keen as on the 125 road racing?
Yeah, obviously they're really, really keen, mainly for the Spanish riders. They just follow Jordi, Mark, and Joan round here, and then when all the riders come, they tend to disappear. But no, they're all very, very enthusiastic. All the people.
These rocks had walked there, haven't they? They certainly look a little bit arranged.
Yeah, they're pretty special, those. These rocks here, the ones that they actually use in all the indoors in Spain, they carry them around on the back of a big articulated wagon. And these are the ones you see in all the major indoor competitions in Spain.
So you know them individually then? They're old friends, are they?
Yeah, definitely. I know every crack on each rock.
left. Left, half a tyre. Right, back as far as you want now, back. As far as you want. Make sure you hit, if anything, a fraction right. You got it, don't go left.
So Colomé takes the Monty to victory in Spain, and I'm sure that was good for street cred for him.
Definitely, yeah. It's a big market, the Spanish market. So it was important for Gasgas and Montesa, to try and have the win there, because obviously the publicity good for bike sales. Mark managed to pull off the win on the day. As you can see, still very close, 40, 42 and 43 for the top three riders. Everybody riding very, very good at this stage in the year. Obviously everybody practicing and training extremely hard, and the level of the sport just going up.
Lamkin 5th, Colley 7th, and Colomé's win there giving him a 2-point lead in the World Championship, but always looking over his shoulder for Torres coming at him, but enjoying the moment. Some pretty hairy sections then in line for those in France for round 8, and always fettling to do with the bikes, but in the background some pretty picturesque scenery, Steve.
That's right, beautiful place, very, very near Lyon, in the French mountains. The ski resort it was held at, beautiful picturesque place, mega weather.
The top 3 placing, I should think, would have done very nicely.
It would have, yeah. It has certainly come at a welcome time this time of year.
But you've got that win to rely on from Finland 2 years earlier, wasn't it?
A long time ago now, Jeff. We're still trying extremely hard for another one. As I say, professional. We'll stick in there, but we have a couple more.
Well, this was the start of what was to be a very long day out in the heat, and Doug Lamkin demonstrating early just why he is a potential world champion of the future. There is still a gulf between the top 3 and the rest, but it's still a gulf when you can't see flying over those rocks too. A lot of times you're unsighted, aren't you?
As I say, some of the stuff here was very, very dangerous, really, really big time. There's just so much grip around, it was impossible to lose grip, so some of the stuff they were sending us was horrendous, but very, very exciting. It certainly gets your heart rate up.
Tree was in an awkward place, and yet it stopped you going further down the bank. It was worth a 1, wasn't it?
Well, it was either Jake or the tree, really, yeah. Just trying to line myself up here. You can see how steep it is to on the bike.
Yet they're quite tractable low down, despite the fact they rev out so hard. All the bikes still have a flywheel effect low down, don't they? This looks horrendous.
Yeah, that was only Pons in the whole competition who made this particular section, section 9. It was massive. His bike has got more power than anybody else in the World Championship. He's running a into this year, and as you can see, it was just absolutely huge.
What's worse, going up or trying to come down?
Standing on top, going down, I think.
Fowler looking sharp, though, I think.
Yeah, he had a new engine for this particular event, I believe. A lot more power, and riding very, very good. See the catch net's just to the left there, so it really does show how high up it is.
The only time I'd seen one of those previously was Blackwater in the Scottish, and that's so ripe now I don't think it would catch very much, but this is an unusual type of section for a World Championship.
I can see Jolly doing a bit of a sneaky line there, left hand side of the river. The water was incredible, just like hanging to the handlebars as tight as you can, and just pray you don't find too many big holes.
Pray the observers don't see those crafty dabs on the blind side.
That's right, yeah. A lot of the sport nowadays, as soon as you get into trouble, you just like lie the bike in anything you can, apart from dabbing.
Well, everybody's copying it now. Did you?
Yes.
I presume you were supposed to come up the river and up over that rock, were you?
Yeah, it was pretty slack really. The section was marked very, very open. Tommy Avala was the first rider to try it, but when he tried to jump across the river, he didn't make it and ended up being washed down to great amusement of some of the crowd. But after Tommy, all the top 15 riders took the same line.
So it was Therese then, and what a victory that was, and that's where he took a lead in the World Championship that was not to be relinquished. From 2 points down to Colomé, 1 point up after France, and he just has that extra touch, doesn't he?
Again, you just look at that score, 32 to Mark 60. It really does take the mickey. You know, like obviously Mark and Tommy, top class riders, and Geordie's just half the score there, which really is amazing.
That's probably his best victory of the 95 season, to win by such a substantial amount.
Definitely, yeah. His lap scores were amazing. You know, just totally demoralised the rest of the riders. The sections were so tough, but Geordie was just coming in with lap scores that were, you know, just out of this world.
Setting him on the road to that 7th World Championship as he gets even more silverware for the sideboard, but it'll have to be a fairly big sideboard, I think, after all these rounds he's knocked up. As it's on to Andorra. What's known about that, Steve? A bit of an unknown quantity, really. Round 9.
Incredibly high up. Again, it's up in the mountains. It's actually a shooting range where the start is. The bikes run like 50 cc's. It's very, very difficult to try and get some power out of them. So every section, you know, the slightest rock is a big problem. So young Shirty arrived in Andorra with loads and loads of like go faster goodies, basically, a different exhaust and different reeds. And everybody's just, you know, they spend the full week just playing with the bike, just trying to get more and more power out of it.
It's all jetting then, is it?
It is, yeah. You know, the bike just can't breathe. It's, you know, you walk to the toilets here and you're out of breath. You seem to do anything and you're out of breath. It's so high up.
But the same for everybody. I always remember in the Scottish, Samuel Miller used to muck about with carburation once he got to Fort William. He used to ride from Edinburgh in those days, of course, but he said that the thing would never run right until he got it jetted after the first day.
That's right, you can spend hours and hours and wake up on the morning of the competition and think your bike's right. The weather might be slightly different, a bit more humidity or something, and the bike doesn't run at all. So very, very difficult to get these bikes to run right. The day that they bring out fuel injection will be a big boost for the trial sport.
So tell me, to the non-technically minded, are the bikes running weak or rich at that height?
A bit of everything, really. The trial was on about a 15-mile radius, and we climbed really, really high into the mountains, actually from the start, and they start running really, really rich then. They load up, and then you go down to the start area, and they run lean, so, you know, depending where the particular section was at the time, you know, they run just about everything. Just terrible all day, really.
That's despite water cooling.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. Obviously, it makes them, you know, run at the same temperature all day. But as for the carburation, basically you just got to, you know, get it as near as you can, and then just, you know, make do with that all day.
There has been some disc valve induction on the two-stroke off-road machines, but not particularly successfully for trials yet.
Trials, no, but I know Gas have got pre-production models with fuel injection. I think it's only time before they perfect it and it'll be in production.
They were water cooling the bottom half as well up to recently, weren't they?
They were early in the year. The crankcases were water cooled. They found out that it was a great advantage, so they've got crankcases now.
You must have thought you were nearly in heaven by the time you got up to the top of this lot, I think.
Yeah, Doug and I walked around the section on the first day, and when we arrived at the top of the section, we noticed on the rocks being really, really dizzy. It was strange, it was so difficult to hear.
But again, right at the very end, that potential wind got away from Doug.
Again, yeah, I don't know if he gets tired of this thing, maybe he has to work a bit more on his fitness. But he's riding very, very good still. He's still only early in his career. And as you say, possibly future world champion.
He had a couple of fives right at the end, I think, didn't he?
The last group of sections, which was back down by the start, we've just been up on these sections where we're watching Kenichi at, incredibly high up, and the bike was absolutely flat. Then you went down to the section near the start, and you actually had a bit of power. And the bike didn't tend to get away from you when that happened.
I wondered whether it was because you were rushing for time for the limit.
Also, it was a big problem here. The actual loop of the trial was too long round, really. All the riders ran out of time again. It turned into a bit of a road race on the last lap. And indeed, I think most riders end up taking fives on the last 3 or 4 sections. At the start of the year, the whole team and myself were hoping for a top 5 placing. We're not so far off. I'm in 8th at the moment. Possibility is 7th if I get my act together here in Andorra, and also in the last World Championship in Finland. Mechanic was ill, so Poland and Italy were down for just myself doing the mechanic. A little difficult. My position as well, I had to be down as well. Then things picked up a little bit. Mechanic was back on the scene. So the team's working well now. We had a 7th in Spain, which was quite good. Steady. We had a 7th in France a few weeks ago. And we're here in Andorra now. And I'm lying joint 50 on 31. The first day, so just hope for a good second day here. Don't see whether second is suiting me. Bike very, very good. And certainly make the bike really, really good. High altitude here. Everybody's sitting on the bike. My bike is the best. So I'm just looking forward to tomorrow and hopefully get stuck in.
Bien, la victoria aquí en Andorra.
Well, Therese then 3 marks clear of Doug Lampkin, Johan Pons in 3rd, and Kuriyama showing great talent there for 4th, and stuck in 10th place. A little bit of a rescue job, really, Steve, after a tough first day.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. First day I wasn't even inside the top 10, so basically on the second day it was just try and dig in and get some points. There's about 3 of us very, very close on the first day, so I managed to get ahead of them, and as you can see, just managed to end up in the top 10 there.
But time was running out really at that point, and you must have thought then that the season hadn't quite lived up to your expectation.
No, I was very disappointed. I was hoping for a top 5 position, and all the time, struggling just outside the top 5. But as I say, I'm still confident that it'll happen one day. It's just when.
But then it was on to the happy hunting ground of Finland, where you gained that victory, and hopes were high, of course, as always.
Yeah, Finland really, really suited me back in '93, I think it was there. Very, very man-made, sections all around the centre. Grippy, lots and lots of hype, lots and lots of people, so it was right up my street again.
But Therese virtually had it in the bag at this point, despite anything that Kolomäe could do, but it didn't deter Kolomäe from winning in Finland. And rounding off the year, even Steven, the last round won by Kolomäe, and Therese, of course, winning the World Championship ultimately, with second place in the final round to win by 8 overall. And again, the 2 British rivals, Colley and Lampkin, both in the top 10, as we'll see.
ja Espanja. Ja niin kuin numero sanoo.
Everybody getting a bit weary by then?
Definitely, it's a long year. Finland was a long way to go just for one World Championship. For Geordie, all he had to do was finish in the top 6. Sounded quite easy, really. But at the end of the first day, he was lying 7th, so it was like big team talk for Gas. And for all the Gas riders, if Geordie was struggling on Sunday, we were told to hang back and have some time penalties and let Geordie go through.
Well, not common, team orders in trials, very difficult to work out the tactics of it, but clearly the World Championship points absolutely vital. And downtown sections then, Steve, here.
Incredible, how they get to run a World Championship in the centre of Helsinki. It's just like having a World Championship around the centre of London and riding sections in Hyde Park and various other places. We're actually wham bam right in the centre of Helsinki here.
So Doug Lampkin then on his way to 4th place in the World Championship, and although you'd rather it have been yourself, of course, I'm sure you'd be sporting enough to acknowledge the progress he's made.
Definitely, yeah, you can't take it away from him. He's had a very, very good year. All his team have worked hard, and he fully deserves his 4th place. All I can say is watch out next year, Doug.
Well, we'll see. So Terres, the world champion then, with an extraordinary record of 5 wins, 2 seconds and 3 thirds out of 10 rounds, never out of the top 3.
Incredible. Is that consistency or what for you?
Colomé, 4 wins, 4 seconds, 1 fourth and 1 sixth, equally banging the scores in. But a 7th World Championship win for Terres, and for Doug Lampkin, 3 seconds, a third, a fourth, 3 fifths, a 10th and a 14th. For Collie, 8th in the world, a 6th, 3 sevenths, an 8th, a 9th, 2 tenths, an 11th and a 12th. But there were only 3 winners of rounds out of the 10, Terres, Colomé and Avala. And they were setting themselves apart. How do you all get in to shift them?
Very, very difficult. The only way to beat them basically is just try and train harder and practice harder than them. And hopefully, the more work and more effort you put in, you should be able to beat them one day.
But then at the end of the 1995 season, a pleasant surprise for you, winning the British Championship in the final round in Lancashire.
Definitely a bit of a highlight of the year there. We had a bit of a down over the year, halfway through the year. Came back very, very strong in the latter stages of the year in the British Championship. So, a nice ending to the year, really.
And a nice ending to the year for Jori Terres, 7 times the World Trials Champion. So suddenly it's over, and a fantastic season it was too, graced by good weather in the main, some spectacular trials riding on some quite staggering sections, as Terres, Colomé and Avala enjoy the spoils of their success. But Terres an absolutely worthy victor. Victor, Steve.
Definitely, just incredible. Who would ever think, he's still going on now after 7 World Championships. The guy's 29 years of age, been around on the World Championship circus for 12 years. When's he going to lose his motivation and will to win?
You wouldn't put much of the Steve Colley millions on the fact that he couldn't do an 8th, would you?
No, he's got to start the 1996 season as hot favourite. He stayed with Gas. The bike's obviously very, very good. He's happy. He's got all the same team behind him, so definitely he's going to be very, very hard to knock off the top.
So Tarrés it is then, after 10 long punishing rounds. Top of the tree, Colomé fought hard, led 3/4 of the way, but then was toppled by Tarrés. Avala going well, Pons also. Doug Lampkin, up and up he goes. Steve Colley steady and British champion, and a few youngsters coming up, including the Japanese rider. It'll be an exciting 1996, and it's remarkable how quick it all comes round. Jordi Tarrés then, 1995 World Trials champion.
Espero que para el año que viene esté en igual o mejor de condiciones para poder mantener una lucha, pues creo, tan bonita para este deporte y que creo que necesita.
It was tight, 8 points in it in the end. Avala displaced for second by Colomé. Lampkin, a remarkable 4th. Pons steady in 5th. Melio still good in 6th. Camozzi, Colley, Bilbao and Kuriyama the top 10.